Our Denver Broncos are involved in some more trade rumors, so we're going to dive into that courtesy of Mile High Report. Y'all be sure to let me know who you want the Broncos to trade for in the comments. Like, subscribe as always. Again, courtesy of Mile High Report, saying the NFL trade deadline is less than 2 weeks away, and we're starting to hear some rumors surrounding the Denver Broncos ahead of the trade deadline that is November 4th. So it's coming up fairly soon. Jonathan Jones of CBS Sports is hearing that the Denver Broncos, not the Pittsburgh Steelers, could be the biggest contender to trade for a wide receiver. Quote, I put together some trade intel Monday, but I want to add a few things to it I've learned in the days since. This came out yesterday, I believe. Perhaps the biggest contender for a wide receiver is not the Steelers, but instead the Broncos. Cortland Sutton is 30 years old and just signed a 4-year extension with an out after next season. Denver has all of its picks through the 5th round and added a 4th from the Saints in the preseason. The Broncos are 5-2 with the top-ranked defense and quarterback on his rookie deal for at least another season. I mean, 2. Folks around the league are watching the Broncos to see how aggressive they will be. It's very interesting stuff. Now, let's talk a little bit about where we're at right now with this receiving core as is. And you got to start here with Troy Franklin. Let me go ahead and move myself over so you can see the stats here. Right now, 27 receptions on the year, 269 yards. I think he's taken a nice little jump this year, but you wanted to see him kind of grab this role more by the horn, so to speak. And neither him or Marvin Mims have really done that. Marvin Mims with 22 receptions, 234 yards, and a touchdown. Inconsistent play. We've seen drops. We've seen volatile usage of both of them throughout. And even though Evan Ingram's coming into the fold a little bit more, it would be really helpful to have like an established number 2 guy. I think that right now, although they still have room to grow, Marvin Mims and Troy Franklin, I think like right now we would feel a lot better about our receiving core if those guys were just the cemented in whatever order you want, kind of our 3rd and 4th options out of the wide receiver room rather than the 2nd and 3rd. You pair another guy that's starting caliber with Cortland Sutton, and now we're talking. Now, some of the guys that CBS has brought up, that ESPN has had out there, I'll go through a few of the guys. Let me know kind of how you feel about it. But the guy that I'd probably be most excited to trade for would, of course, be Chris Olave. He's going to cost the most, though, right? Like probably a day 2 pick at minimum, I'm guessing, for somebody like Chris Olave. But 44 receptions, 440 yards, 3 touchdowns, on pace to have another 1,000-yard receiver with receiving season with Spencer Rattler. I mean, he would be perfect. He'd be a real number 1. And Cortland Sutton, I mean, I think he's a great number 1 for us right now as well. But I mean, this guy gets open all the time. He makes everybody better. And what do you want to do with a quarterback that has had struggles with inconsistency? Give him weapons. I talked earlier today about Joe Burrow and Joe Flacco having freaking T. Higgins and Jamar Chase to just throw to all the time. Bo Nix right now doesn't have that luxury. He's got Cortland Sutton, who I think should be targeted more often right now, but in Evan Ingram. But adding Chris Olave to this conversation would be fantastic. And we definitely have the cap room to deal with his extension and so forth. I think it's probably going to take a lot for the Saints to give him up. I don't really see him moving on at the deadline, especially with an offensive head coach there. To give up a guy, your number 1 guy, that could be different. Now, Rashid Shaheed could be a different case, right? He's not necessarily their number 1, but he's having a fantastic year. 6 feet, 180 pounds. So he does have some size to him, but insane speed, 30 receptions, 356 yards, 2 TDs, almost 12 yards of reception. I would love him here. And I think he's playing on a slight extension as well, but on an affordable deal. You could bring him out here. I would love Rashid Shaheed, especially because of his top-end speed. Hey, imagine having him, Troy, Marvin Mims on the field at the same time. Good luck. So maybe we can work our connections with the Saints and get him out here. I would love that. Another guy that Man, we'll see if you can get him for like a day 3 pick. I would love to bring in Calvin Ridley. Again, he's a guy that you probably don't want as like your number one option, but with both him and Cortland Sutton on the field, that could be interesting stuff. Now he has struggled with drops here, and could be a little expensive to bring here, but man, I wouldn't hate it. I think Calvin Ridley's still a good wide receiver. And if, again, it all depends on the price. If you're giving up like a sixth round pick for the guy, I'm going to be all for it. But again, I would prefer some of the younger guys. Calvin Ridley, same age, if not maybe a few months older than Cortland Sutton as well. Not thrilled about that. A guy that I have absolutely no interest in is Christian Kirk. He's been brought up. Uh, yeah, not much to say there. And a guy that could be like a change of scenery guy that I think maybe could benefit in this Broncos offense more than what he's done in Baltimore is Rashad Bateman. Only 11 catches for 120 yards, one touchdown. Kind of has been a disappointment after being a first round pick there, in Baltimore years ago. I think he did sign a slight extension with the Ravens to remain there or remain with his team rather. But this is something, yeah, the Broncos could acquire and he could be part of this receiving core. But again, he's somebody that should be, if you're acquiring him, it shouldn't be more than for like a late third, day 3 draft pick. He hasn't been anybody that has shown that he can sustain great production. I guess in 2024 he had 750 yards and 9 touchdowns. That's great to see. Has flashed a little bit of it, but throughout his career, man, just has kind of been, yeah, he has been very disappointing for where he has been drafted, right? But somebody again that 6'1", still only 25 years old. There's more to his game still, and could benefit from a change of scenery to a different style of offense. That is the Broncos. So, yeah, I wouldn't hate really any of these additions that I've talked about, aside from Christian Kirk. Just think he gets hurt all the time. Doesn't add size to the room either. So, yeah, give me one of these guys, but the New Orleans Saints players would be definitely the top on my board of who I would try to acquire. Chris Olave, I think it's going to be hard to get him out of New Orleans. I think you're going to have to pay a pretty price for him. But if there's one thing that we've learned is that we can fleece New Orleans. That Devon Bailey trade was insane. So maybe we can get him or Rashid Shaheed out here. I would be thrilled with either of those moves. And I would be excited about Calvin Ridley edition. So the other ones, maybe not so much. Maybe you just roll with what you got. Of course, you guys have brought up great points of, yeah, maybe we should target offensive line or linebacker before we're tight end, before we're going after a wide receiver. I get that. But at the same time, those positions might be a little harder to acquire. And if you can bring in another weapon for the offense, that could help a young quarterback that has been inconsistent this year. So, y'all let me know your thoughts in the comments. Really do appreciate you guys as always. No boost for boys tonight. We will get back together hopefully next week. As always, y'all, go Broncos.